There was one of the doctors that were pregnant. She just gave birth in September. She's back at work in October. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Last week I made a video explaining my experience being ghosted from a corporate dental job. This is just a part 2. So if you haven't seen that video before watching this video, you probably are gonna need to go back and watch that video before watching this video in order to have context so that you're not lost. So in my last video I talked about how I was waiting to hear back from a new promo job opportunity because it was really fun and creative, and I did hear back from them. I'm all booked for the rest of November and early December, and they seem like really excited to have me on, so I'm really excited about that opportunity. Some of you guys are probably wondering why I didn't apply to another dental assistant job, and honestly I just need a break from it entirely. I just didn't want to go through the whole job hunting process, the interview process, and all of that when I can just jump back into doing promo gigs and get into it within the next couple of days and have some paid gigs that pays me. Some of them pay like right after your booking, and some of them pay like every 2 weeks like normal, and then you just have like, I just have more freedom doing this. I really miss working freelance. I miss having more control over what I do with my time, what I do with my own face, how I decorate my body, what I do with my hair and everything. And I feel like being a dental assistant doesn't allow me that creative freedom. Like, I could wear makeup at my regular job, but like I wouldn't be able to wear anything like this. And personally, I wouldn't want to, because I'm wearing like a chunky glitter look, and I can't wear that to work because I'm a dental assistant and it can get into someone's mouth and just be a mess. Like, even though I wear safety glasses and like we have face shields and all that, I just wouldn't want to risk it. So yeah, I just won't be bothered with that. I don't like all the pressures that come with being a dental assistant in terms of how professional you have to be, what professionalism means, and just dealing with a whole bunch of nonsense. I sign up to work or job and just do that job and work, not to deal with everybody's attitudes, not to shrink myself down to make myself more palatable for people with weak egos, not to deal with micromanaging, not to let people girl boss, gaslight, and gatekeep me to death. I sign up to work and do the job, and I just don't feel like it's worth it for me to put myself in those situations anymore. So it's not like I hate dental assisting, it's just that I realize that after all these negative experiences, maybe this isn't the right field for me. So I'm just gonna get back into freelancing, and I'll keep my private dental assisting job, and I just won't apply to any more dental assisting jobs probably like ever again if I can help it. And I'm thinking about transitioning to a whole new career entirely. I really want content creation and being an artist to be more of a sustainable income source for me. I'm working on creating more content in regards to that, and creating more content that aligns more with my mission, my intention, and like where I want to go with it within the next couple of months, within the next couple of years or whatever. I know that I'm completely capable of doing it. One of the things I find so funny about this experience is that I worked so hard to get into this industry, and I put up with so much, and it was so hard to get my foot in the door. And I thought that being a dental assistant would provide me with stability and consistency in my life, when the last 3 years in this industry have been unstable as fuck. It doesn't matter if I was with an agency, a corporate job, a private job, just doing some temp jobs here and there. Like, it's not stable, it's not consistent. Even when you work like a regular job, even if you're working full-time or part-time, like, your schedule is not consistent and you do not have stability. It is an illusion. So you might as well just go ahead and do the things that you have been putting off for so long and just go ahead and get into it. So that's kind of like one of the things that I've just been implementing. The work environment was toxic, so I feel like it's a blessing in disguise that they ghosted me. I feel like the trash took itself out, and I'm kind of relieved that I don't have to feel guilty about quitting or feel like I'm not doing enough or feel like I'm giving up too soon and all these other negative things that they tell you when you want to quit your job, and like all the negative indoctrination that you face and all the judgment. And I was so worried about quitting the job because I was like, oh, it's gonna look so bad on my resume when I applied to new positions. But it's like, well, since I was working 2 jobs at the same time and I'm still working one of those jobs, if I quit this job, I can always just not put it on my resume when I apply to new positions, and then I don't even have to worry about any of that nonsense. I just want to get my pay stubs so that I can have proof that I worked in the industry as long as I did, and take a few continuing education classes that I want to take to advance my career. So yeah, the environment there was very much girl boss, gaslight, gatekeep. Like, I don't even know how to describe it without really making this video longer than it has to be. But that was just the environment. Like, for example, one time I had to like leave early to go do something else after work, and I said something in the morning of, but then when it was time for me to leave, everybody freaked out, and someone, like one of the other assistants, lied and said, oh, she never said she had to leave. I don't know where she got that from. And then the doctor was like I told her, like, well, so-and-so told me that I only had to work till 5 today. And I already said that I needed to leave early, like, beforehand. And they said it was fine. And the doctor was like, nobody told her that. She made that up. Nobody said anything like that to her. And I'm like, really? I don't have a phone. I don't have text messages from the office manager that told me that this morning or yesterday when she booked me. I'm really just making this up right now. Like, she would gaslight the fuck out of me, and then she would get so mad when I would be like, no. What the? Just no. And then she said, like, to another assistant, like, oh, she doesn't get to go whenever she wants. She has to ask me for permission, and I get to decide if I allow it. And I was like, no, because I'm not your property. You do not own me. I will not be asking for permission. I gave a heads up. And then she just got annoyed and walked away. And that happened like a few months ago. There were times where this doctor, she speaks Arabic, and some of the patients speak Arabic. She would be talking to them in Arabic, and then she'll say something to me, like telling me to do whatever, but she'll still be speaking in Arabic, and then she'll yell at me in English, like, Ellen, why didn't you do the blah, blah, blah? I told you to do this, this, and that. And I was like, no, you didn't. At least you didn't say it in English. I did too say it in English. You're just not listening. You need to do blah, blah, blah. And then she'll go back to speaking Arabic again. I'd be like, doctor, you're not speaking English right now. I cannot understand you. I do not know what you're saying to me. I too am speaking English. You're lying. I said that in perfectly clear English. Like, and it was a common occurrence. Like, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you don't know what fucking language you're speaking to, what person you're speaking it to? Like, and it's not like that's something that happened that one time. It was something that was common. So unless another assistant was in the room with me to say, no, doctor, you didn't say that in English. You need to repeat yourself in English in order for her to understand you. Then she'd be like, oh, okay. But if it was just me, it was just girl boss, gaslight, gatekeep. So yeah. There was this one time, like I wouldn't say a few weeks ago, maybe like a little over a month ago. It was sometime in October. Just got like really bored, antsy, and just feeling like really like disconnected from my identity as a person, and just started trying to like do makeup again, because I used to wear makeup all the time when I first worked there. And I've made it a personal habit to wear colorful, fun makeup to job interviews, because I feel like if you're the type of person that's going to bother me or, be, upset about me wearing green eyeshadow or eyeliner, or you're mad because I shaved my fucking eyebrows, you're not the type of person that I want to work with, because you're gonna be nitpicky and gross, and that job isn't gonna last very long. So when I first started working there, I wore colorful makeup looks my first few weeks there, and nobody said anything about it, and I still got the job when I came there to an interview like that. So like in October, I wore like orange makeup with just like some black triangles on it, so that it looks like a jack-o'-lantern style makeup. And she was like, "Why are you dressed like that? It's so unprofessional. I can't believe you came to work like that. I mean, it's Halloween. I guess I'll allow it, but oh my gosh, that's so unprofessional." And it must have shown on my facial expression how grossed out I was. Like, I literally looked at her like so disgusted. Mind you, like, we're wearing masks at work, and I wear my safety glasses too. So she couldn't see like my full facial expression, but it must have read in my eyes how disgusted I looked at her. And I just said, okay. But she just, I don't know, the way she looked at me, I think that she understood that I was looking at her disgusted, because it was dumb. Like, if I would have known that you were gonna be on that type of bullshit when I first got this job, I would not have accepted it. I would not have accepted it. And I feel like because that doctor already has like something against me, like her interactions with me are always just, ugh. I feel like it's because it was me that she had something to say something to, and it's just like I knew in that moment that there was nothing that I could do. There was nothing I could say. It didn't matter how hard I worked. It didn't matter how hard I tried to like make the day go by as smoothly as possible. She will always be nitpicky and gross. She will always be unhappy. She will always find something to be mad about, to be upset about, to be, just like whatever. And I remember saying something to like the office manager, like, "Oh, Dr. So-and-so, she's always so angry," and just, oh. And then she was like, "Oh, she's not angry, she's just Arabic. Like, we're both Arabic. Like, that's how we are in our culture." But, and I'm sorry that this sounds disrespectful, but I knew that that was a lie, because I saw how this doctor interacted with the other assistants, and I saw how this doctor interacted with other people who worked there, and her interactions with those people versus her interactions with me, like, were just a completely different energy. And I knew, like, don't try and fucking gaslight me when I say that somebody's being angry at me and they're clearly showing signs of anger. And don't try and say, "Oh, that's just our culture," when I see how you interact with other people versus how you interact with me. Like, I see it. Okay? I see it. So it was just like little experiences like that on the regular that just, it just annoyed the fuck out of me. And I just don't want anything to do with anybody like that. I would hear other employees complain about things that they didn't like about the corporation in terms of the way that it was run. And I felt like, well, one of the assistants, like the head assistant, she's been there for over 20 years. She speaks like 3 different languages, one of which nobody else speaks. Like, this is not a common language at all. Like, some of the people at the job speak Arabic, some speak Spanish, so they're able to communicate with some of the patients that speak those languages. But there was just one language that she spoke from her home country that nobody else speaks. And this isn't, like, I don't know, it's not a common country that everybody knows. Like, if she told you the country that she was from, then you'd be like, "What? Where is that?" Like, it was that type of thing. And there was patients that came to the office specifically for her because she was able to translate for them. And if she wasn't going to be there that day, then they would cancel their appointment and come back when she is there. And then there are patients that are only comfortable with this one assistant, and she knows how to do everything. Well, why was she complaining about how broke she was? Why was she complaining about how exhausted she was all the time? Because the company doesn't train people correctly, and the company doesn't invest in continuing education programs for their new employees, and they just expect all of the weight and all the burden to go on the head assistants or the people that's just been there for the last 10, 20 years. Like, why was that why was that a common complaint of hers? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. There was this one time where they had an assistant fill in from a different office, but she broke her foot. So she's just like hopping around the office, still trying to do work as usual. And some of the other assistants, they were complaining about how slow she was. And I'm like, if she's injured to the point where she can't even freaking walk, then why is she even at work in the first place? You guys have health insurance. You guys have paid time off. But even with all those benefits, she still can't afford to just stay home and heal properly. And she has to come to work. And you guys are giving her crap because she's slow? Like, you're lucky she even came at all. There was one of the doctors that were pregnant. She just gave birth in September. She's back at work in October. Like, she just had a whole human crawl out of her body, and she's back at work. And they have health insurance, they have paid time off. But if even one of the doctors that works for this corporation cannot afford to, or isn't able to, or is pressured into coming back to work less than a month after she gave birth and isn't given maternity leave, then what the fuck? I just started to feel like if they don't treat the people that have been there for years on end that well, and they're not even letting a doctor that just gave birth stay home and heal up properly before coming back to work, then why was there so much pressure on me to do all this extra stuff and take all these extra classes to learn all these extra skills and uphold this extra level of professionalism that some other people didn't have because the doctor liked them more? If that's how y'all treat the people at the top, what am I working so hard for if that's how you treat the people you already have that are already so dedicated to the job as it is? What is the reason? It's dumb. It's a scam and I don't want it. When I Googled the company's net worth, it's about 25 million a year. And that's like the estimated. But it's somewhere more than that because they keep opening up new practices. So yeah. And the average entry level salary versus the expectations, and if the head people there aren't making that much and aren't getting that much benefits, it's literally disgusting. It's literally disgusting. They have this vibe of like, we're all a family. We're all like a family. We all love each other. We're all friends. We bring food and snacks and drinks for each other. And, we buy lunches for each other. And we look out for one another and all that. And the company used that to just manipulate people into working harder and being exploited more. And tricking the employees into thinking the employers were really their friends. They would hang out with the doctor on the weekend. They would make plans to have like a picnic. They would have their kids hang out with each other and all that stuff. And I found it weird. Like, I didn't even try and get involved in anything that had to do with anything outside of work in terms of the people who work there, because I was just so over being around those people. And I know that if I hang out with those people outside of work, I'm still going to be expected to shrink myself down, to make myself more palatable for those people, and I wouldn't be able to truly enjoy myself and relax. For an example, literally nobody that I've worked with in the past year or so, in terms of like my employers, have ever seen my hair. They don't know that I have a mohawk. They don't know that I haven't straightened my hair in the last 5 years. Like, they're gonna be expecting those things if I see them outside of work. So I just was not interested. How I'm doing financially. I am doing okay. Like, them ghosting me and me not having work, it kind of hit a little bit in October. But now that I've booked a lot of promo gigs for the month of November and like half of December, I make more doing promo gigs than I would if I still work there. And I have more freedom with my schedule and stuff, and just, I like it better. I'm happier. It's fine. I'll do another video talking about the pros and cons of being a brand ambassador in a different video, but I just want to keep this video on topic. But yeah, I'm not hurting for money because they ghosted me, because I have all these other things that I can do. So, oh well, fuck them. What does my future look like? I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to stay in dental assisting. I'm not really interested in doing all the things that you need to do to like climb the corporate career ladder thing, because the people at the top are struggling financially, physically, mentally, emotionally. One of the assistants I work with, she doesn't have good hearing anymore. Like, it's really common for people in this industry to like lose their hearing, develop carpal tunnel, or hand injuries are really common, and I just don't want that for myself. I want to live a more creative, fulfilling life. I want to be able to decorate my face more. And people who aren't creative are going to continue to try and gaslight me into saying that my boundaries aren't valid, and oh, you can wear makeup on your own time and it's not that serious, and all the other crap. And that doesn't mesh well with me. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't resonate with me. I don't relate to you. Don't try and put that on me. Thank you. So the coffee shop that I told you guys about, I have to schedule an interview with the person, but they did reach out to me. I just have to do like a virtual video interview with them. I'll probably like try and schedule it for tomorrow before I go into my other thing. And I'm just gonna see like what their schedule is talking about for now, and like going into like the next few months or whatever. So we'll see. I personally feel like employers should be required to pay severance to their employees, regardless if they're full-time, part-time, freelance, independent, or what, because you're putting somebody in a financial crisis if you fire them abruptly. You don't get a 2 weeks notice if you're fired, but I have to put in a 2 weeks notice as a courtesy, as a form of professionalism. I don't get a 6 months notice to find another job, and we're in an at-will state, so what the hell? My content is going to be changing up pretty soon. I'm going to try and incorporate more vlogs, and as I get my art studio prepared and add more things to it, I'll show you guys like some more studio vlogs, and may do like a studio tour just to show you how I decorate the place and what my art supplies look like and how I store it and all that. I just don't have like proper storage containers for my art supplies right now, and I don't have like all the things that I want to have set up. So I'll do that as I, get it along the way, but that's not something I'm going to be doing soon. But I do want to like incorporate more vlogs, so yay, look forward to those. I'm working on new product ideas and shop updates for my Etsy shop, LNG's art. So I'm working on some sticker sets and painting some new things and all of that. So look forward to that soon. It was a slow build up. Okay, so the last point that I wanted to make before I wrap up this video is that it was a slow build. But I'm just gonna make a separate video talking about like the red flags leading up to it, just because I feel like these videos are too long and I don't want to create a video that is like 3 hours long. I would rather just create a series of short videos that are like 30 minutes here, 40 minutes there, 20 minutes here, you know, just, yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave comments below. I love interacting and engaging with you guys. If you're not already, please subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when I upload. Like the video so other people can see it. If you feel like anybody else can relate to these experiences and you want to show it to them, you know, feel free to share it. Thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Bye.